I want to talk a little bit about just some of the basic things that you will be talking about as a volunteer to the visitors at the State Fair. So primarily what you're going to be doing is just talking about MS, talking to people about what MS is, what we know about it, what's going on with the research, what are some ways to get involved. And so in this training manual, and I actually have other YouTube videos that that go into a little bit more detail about how to talk about MS and the MS Society as well. If you're interested in checking those out, it's equally as fabulous as a video, I assure you. So one of the ways that you can describe MS, depending on how long someone wants to sit and listen to you talk about MS, you could just simply tell them that MS is a chronic disease of the central nervous system, which is the brain, spinal cord, and optic nerve. And then you can go on to explain that MS interrupts the flow of information from the brain to the body and makes moving difficult. If you want to get into further detail about myelin and how it's an autoimmune disease that attacks the myelin and makes the messages kind of get weak or confused or just don't go through at all, you can certainly do that. And I do have messaging in this manual about that. So. And as well as another YouTube video about that. So you can do that when you describe MS. And another thing you're going to want to do at the booth, in addition to describing what MS is to talk about what can people do about it. What are some of the ways to join the movement? Well, I have broken those down into 5 overall categories on how to join the movement, and we'll go over those right now. And so the very first thing that someone can do is learn. They can simply learn about what MS is, and they're doing that by stopping at the booth. You can learn about MS, you can do that by attending the fair or other health fairs or community fairs, by attending programs or services that the MS Society provides. And I should add really quick that in this manual, whenever you see this little gopher, the little State Fair gopher guy, underneath one of these categories, it's because he is directing you to information that you will find at the booth. And this isn't exactly how it's going to look. We have a giant booth and lots of materials and lots of really fun stuff, but there's just a few materials I wanted to highlight today. What is MS? This is a fantastic brochure, so if someone does want to know a lot more and you don't really feel like you are comfortable describing MS a lot more, you can certainly give them one of these. Fabulous reading material while eating a corn dog. That is there, and as I said, learning is one of the ways to join the movement, so just by visiting the booth, attending programs and services. We have a couple of brochures about our programs. One of them is our Programs Connection newsletter, and this is a bi-monthly directory of our programs that we have coming up, and so you can direct them to that. And also we have our MS Navigator program, so basically if anybody has questions, needs a referral, needs anything from us, you can give them one of these Navigator brochures. They can contact us and we can put them in the direction of wherever they need to go. So it's a great way to put people in touch with services and other programs that the MS Society provides. So those are a couple of the programs brochures, a couple of ways to learn attending the programs. We have a ton of programs. We have self-help groups, over 70 throughout the chapter. We have recreational and social programs, programs for family and friends, youth camp, teen programs, all kinds of great stuff. So I encourage you to take a look around our website and learn a little bit more about some of those programs that we provide. Another way that people can learn, again, remember it's our first way to join the movement, learning, is MS research. Research is huge. You'll find that at the booth. People will come up and say, oh, so what's going on with MS research? Do we have a cure yet? And that's a hard question to answer. And like I'll tell you later, you're not going to know the answers to every question that people ask, and that is okay. Nobody knows all of the answers. But research is a question that is hard to talk about because it's really giant. And I think one of the things that I like to say is that there are more potential therapies in the pipeline for MS now than at any other time in history, and that we are working on a number of projects to slow the progression, to understand how to repair the damage that's already been done. And there are a number of projects in the works to do those things. And we also have this little research handout, which you can direct people to as well, looking at some of the great strides that we made in 2008. So kind of looking over the past year, the MS Society always does kind of a recap at the end of the year to say, look how far we've gone and look at all the great things that are in the pipeline. So this is available, and there will also be some other research materials available for you, some current projects and current things that are going on. As you know, research is really dynamic. Things are changing all of the time, so we'll try to keep those as up-to-date as possible for you. And on the topic of research really quick, I want to bring up the Why Women campaign. If you were at the fair last year, we had a really giant portion of the booth dedicated to the Why Women campaign. But the campaign is designed to look at the differences in gender differences in MS. Women are diagnosed 2 to 3 times more than men, and we also know that pregnancy tends to make symptoms go away for women who have MS. And so we're looking at the link of what is it between pregnancy and hormones and MS and all of these things that makes it different for women than men. And so we're looking at some of the really unique gender research that's happening. So there'll be information about that type of research as well. So again, if you refer to your manual, that was kind of a recap of way to join the movement number 1, which is learn, which is simply learning, checking out programs, learning about research. Way number 2 to join the movement is by participating in events. We have a number of really exciting fundraising events at the chapter. We have a 1-day walk, a 2 to 3 day walk. We have 3 different bike MS rides. We have a motorcycle ride and a snow rally, as well as a luncheon. So those are all really excellent and fun ways to get involved in raising money for programs and services and research, and also just supporting the cause and being part of the movement. So in your manual, there are dates for the 2010 events. And at the booth, there will also be a fancy schmancy little glossy, colorful card with all of the dates for next year's events. The fair falls at a funny time where it's the end of the summer. Most of our events happen in the summer, so they're just ending, so we don't really have the materials to hand out to people. But this will be something that we can leave them with and say, hey, make sure you save the date for next May for the walk, or whatever the case may be. Just getting people thinking and kind of getting it on their calendars for how they can get involved through our events. All right, so that was way number 2, events. So we've got learn, we've got events. Way number 3 is to donate. Donating to the MS Society is a really great way to get involved. Just making a one-time donation, a planned gift, which costs no money right now, is just remembering the MS Society in your request or your will. That's another way of getting involved. We have tribute gifts, memorial gifts, and we also have workplace giving. And so this card will be at the booth. It's a way to deduct money from your payroll, from your paycheck every month, or every week, or however you want it to be done, to go to the MS Society. So we have these cards available. It's a really simple way to get involved with giving. We will also have donation envelopes at the booth. So if somebody wants to make a donation, there will be an envelope. The State Fair has a really strict policy on no money kind of being exchanged between people. So if people do want to make a gift to the MS Society, they need to put it in the envelope, and then we will have a safe place to put that.